Hey there. Today we're going to have a look at this pen. This is the Gioa. I can't read what I wrote. Oh, Metis, yes, sorry, Cappucino Gold. I have been playing around with it. I just don't name the pens the whole time when I'm playing with them. Okay, so interesting pen was lent to me by Joost from Appelboom Pens. Remember, click the banner on my website to get a 10% discount. Gioa, Italian brand. I think this is quite an attractive pen. Certainly a bit of a larger pen, not so much in girth, but certainly in length. It's quite sizable. Nice material. Nice material, I think. Very nice and colorful. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I will do a writing sample and I will tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Let's get started. Okay, let's talk about the Gioa Metis Cappucino Gold. 128 euros, 93 cents excluding VAT at Appelboom. Company is from Naples. Nibs are extra fine, fine, medium and broad, as well as a 1.1, 1.5 millimeter stub. They're in steel. The one you're about to see has a medium nib. Metis was the Greek goddess of intelligence, planning, cunning and wisdom, and all of these properties can only be gained through experience, much like how Gioa makes beautiful pens through experience. There we go, that was the kind of marketing talk. Let's discuss the box. So we get this cardboard outer sleeve, the Cappucino Gold. We have, there's the outer sleeve, and then we have the box. It's a simple box, black, simple, nothing fancy. We have a little pen condom. We have the Appelboom sticker, and we have a little warranty card. That's pretty much it. It does say Gioa writing emotion on the inside, which is kind of cute, I think. And then we have the actual pen. I'll put that down right there. I'll zoom in a bit and I'll put it right next to a Pilot Metropolitan. So as you can see, it's a long pen, not necessarily super girthy. I feel in this one it really is more a matter of length over girth. Your preference. Now, parts of the pen. Top of the cap, same material as the rest of the cap. I always like that. I just think it makes for a nice balanced look. Then we have a very small clip when you think about it. I think they may have gone for a bit of a vintage look. Small clip. That clip is pretty tight, but does work. Two nice rings there. An ink window, another gold ring. Barrel, which slightly tapers down, another gold ring, and the piston turning knob, which I won't operate because the pen is full of ink. I don't think there was any, no, I don't remember any writing on this pen, so we have that. You uncap the pen by unscrewing it, and you have a long section, and it's quite interesting. So this ink window actually sticks out a bit. I don't know how well you can see, but there's a tiny bit of a step down, quite nice and rounded off, but that is the ink window. Now we have some threads which stand out a bit, but I, in all honesty, don't find particularly sharp. And then we have the section that tapers down and then flares out a little bit. And then we have a nib that looks a lot like a Jovo nib to me. In this case, again, steel, gold. It says Gioa, it has their logo, and it has the sun on it, which I think is quite nice. I'll make sure there are close-ups on the website. Larger pen, as I said, mainly in length, not super girthy, and if you really want to, you can post it, and then you get a really big pen, for which I have to zoom out a bit. That can be done. Bear in mind, the cap is directly on the piston turning knob and will engage that piston, so be a little careful if you choose to post that pen. Again, it's already quite long. I don't know if anyone would really need to do that to be able to write comfortably with it, but theoretically, you could. Okay, writing sample. Gioa Metis in Cappucino, medium steel nib. Ink is Aethergraph, Eldergraph. I am now blanking on the name again. I'm sorry. I'm doing the fast first today, apparently. I don't know why. Okay, let's do some normal writing. We'll flip this for those who may be confused otherwise. Wow, his handwriting really deteriorated. Yes, well, you know, there we are. It's not an unpleasant pen. There definitely is some feedback, and depending on how you angle it, there certainly is some scratchiness to it, I find. So it has a specific sweet spot that if it's not hit, you really feel it. Quite wet. I find that kind of at lower angles, it's smoother. This is the exact spot. Here it's very smooth, but then as you go down more, you really have to be, it's a bit finicky, and it can be quite pleasant, but it can definitely have a bit of scratch to it. Line variation. Not a flex nib, not advertised as such. So do it at your own risk. But I have found there is some springiness to the steel nib, which does allow you to squeeze out a bit of line variation. But again, it's not a flex nib, so you've been warned. Reverse writing is possible, not super scratchy, and you can definitely squeeze out a bit of line variation here. I don't know why I said that. You can definitely get a couple of words out of it without the pen running super dry, I feel. So, nice pen, especially if you're in the market for a somewhat larger pen that is not super expensive. I'm not saying it's inexpensive, but there's a lot worse out there. And I will say I do really like this material. Speaking of which, let's talk about likes and dislikes. What do I like and what do I not like about this Gioa Metis Cappucino? I think it's beautiful. I will say that. I think it's a very attractive material that certainly, I don't know if I've really ever seen something like this. Usually you have these sort of wavy or swirly acrylics. This, it's not quite mottled. I don't really know how to describe this. I think it looks quite nice. What I also like is that, sorry, I'm looking down because my notes are here. What I also like is it has an ink window. Piston fillers without ink windows are difficult to me because you have no idea how much ink you have left, and in this case it is very clear. So I really like the way they did that, and I like that they build it in such a way that without uncapping it, you can look at the ink window. I always think it's nice when the cap doesn't cover the ink window, because this way you don't even have to uncap it. You're leaving home, you can quickly look to see how much ink you have left. You can choose to re-ink it or not. In that case, you do have to uncap it. Anyway, that's what I think. Another thing that I like is that it's larger without being obscene. And I'm not trying to be funny or something. We see a lot of pens these days, I think, that are moving towards larger and larger sizes, but sometimes it becomes a bit ridiculous, especially when the proportions feel off. It can look stupid, and this is coming from someone who loves larger pens. I absolutely love larger pens. Some of my pens are huge and are obscene looking, but I think this is still pretty balanced. It's large without being ridiculous, and I think that probably is because it's not too girthy. They stayed within a reasonable parameter of width, making for a nice larger pen without it being absurdly large. Now when you post it, that becomes a slightly different issue. So I like that too. These are all things that I really enjoy. I also think that because the girth is not excessive, people with different hand sizes can use this comfortably. So people with smaller hands, the pen might stick out a bit further, but the section is not extremely girthy. So I think that's really nice. Things I don't like so much. There are a couple of things. When posted, I think it becomes a bit ridiculous. My bigger issue with it is that when posted, I'm very careful because there's ink in the pen, the cap fits exactly on top of, not over, the piston turning knob. So if you're not careful, you might start twisting with this, or if you hand it to someone who posts it, they don't really know a lot about fountain pens, I probably wouldn't do that. But if you were, they could start twisting it, there will be ink everywhere. So because it's actively operating the piston that way. So be a little careful with that. The section tapers down, flares out a bit sharp. Now, you wouldn't really touch it there, but if you are one of the people who hold their pens really, really close to the nib, which I know some people out there do, you can feel, even if you rest your finger on top of it, I can feel the sharpness of that edge. It's not really rounded off. In fact, it's not rounded off. It's a bit of a step down, right? You have that ink window, then you have a bit of section, then you have the threads, then you have more section. There's a bit of a step down. I don't think it's anything dramatic, but you feel it a little bit. That, though, is not sharp. I will say that. The final thing I will comment on is that I found the nib, depending on the angle in which you hold it, to be a little bit feedbacky, a little bit scratchy maybe from certain angles. And that may depend a bit on how highly or lowly you hold the pen. But I did notice that. Now, it looks to me like it's a Jovo nib, so you might be able to exchange that if you really want to, but I mean, you can also smooth it out a bit. It's nothing dramatic, but I did want to mention it. Overall, 128 euros 93 cents, excluding that. I think it's fair. Were it 30 euros more, then you start to get into gold nib range as far as I'm concerned. This is below that. You do get the piston filler, you do get it's a nice package. So I mean, I think it's a fair price for this pen, also because it looks quite good, has the ink window, there's clear eye for detail. So I think that's all really nice. And I could see myself paying that for this pen. So there we have it. Let me know what you think of the issue of the cap on the piston turning knob, and if I'm insane, I would appreciate that. That's all I have. Thank you, Joost, for lending me the pen. Hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.